I'm here to talk to you guys about obesity and how it can be prevented in our schools. This ties into the citizen goal of healthcare and also education. So most of us know that a lot of our experiences make up who we are today, and that includes our eating habits. So if you're young, and I know for me it's ice cream, my parents used to give me ice cream after every time I did something good. So basically anytime I see ice cream, I just want to eat it all. It just gives me that warm feeling inside. Let's see. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how a lack of education in fitness and nutrition has created a major obesity problem in America. I've researched this topic pretty thoroughly, and I did a few projects in the past years. Obesity is a rising problem in America. As you guys can tell, I'm sure you guys have been to elementary schools and you have nieces and nephews. It's sad, you know. I think these kids, this is what they're exposed to in schools is the food, and so they think this is how they should be eating, and we haven't properly educated them on how to be eating. Obesity in food, like what we learn to eat, also follows us into our adulthood, so this isn't something that children can grow out of. We're kind of setting them up for failure by feeding them what we're feeding them in our schools. So as I did my research, I actually watched a TED Talk about a lady who is trying to improve school lunches, and she said that most of what she's seeing when she's going to schools is that these children are receiving meals that are only packaged, so they're not getting any fresh vegetables. She was saying like they're eating like the freezable chicken nuggets, and she's like, chicken nuggets should not come in stars. Chickens don't come in stars. They don't come in heart shapes. So this is what we're teaching our kids are normal, that they should be eating chicken nuggets and tater tots and ketchup every day for lunch. And then the options that we are providing as far as vegetables are disgusting. Does anybody remember like in elementary school? Yeah, I hated them.
No, I hate them.
I know, right? They're disgusting. So nobody wants to eat them. So let's talk a little bit more about how obesity can be prevented in young children. So there is a lack of physical education and nutrition in schools. I know kids, they get like 1 hour of PE maybe sometimes once a week, and with all the budget cuts, I mean that may become even less. And then children, it can most likely tell you what's bad and good. I learned that in my research, is that they know that pizza is bad for them, but they don't really know that, okay, you need to be eating this, 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 and this. They just think they know, oh, well, pizza's bad and ice cream's bad, but I mean, they don't really know what they should be eating. Food is also not locally grown. So when I did my research, that they're buying food from places that isn't even near where they are, so they're having to process it so much to get it to the children, and by the time, you know, it's here and it's reheated, no one wants to eat it. And then what our children are thinking are healthy, like the fruit cups. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the fruit cups that have a bunch of fruit in it, they're full of high fructose corn syrup. So we can be tricking our children because we haven't taught them what's actually in this fruit. So they're thinking, they're connecting fruit with healthy, but really when you look at the ingredients, it's really not healthy. And then we use a place of learning to serve our children bad food. So when they come to school, it should be a safe environment where they should, because children are like sponges, they soak up everything. So this is what we're teaching them, is that hamburgers, pizza, tater tots, that's all good for them, when really we should, be teaching them a healthy, balanced eating. And also children don't realize what they're putting in their body. They don't realize, all they know is that it tastes good and that they like it, and then we're training them to like this stuff into their adulthood. So let's move on to my main point, my second main point. Soda and candy machines in school make it extremely easy for children to get this food. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but right against the hall, you can literally use your debit card to buy a soda. That's sad. That's so easy. I know every time I walk by, I'm like, I don't need a Diet Coke. I don't need a Diet Coke. So kids learn that this eating habit of, say they're running late, they swipe their card, and then, out comes anything they basically want. So we're teaching children basically that eating is on the go. When I was doing my research, they said 70% of people in their last 5 meals have eaten 2 meals in their car. So that kind of shows that eating is not really a priority. and then also the healthy foods are not appealing. Students are often not taught what is right or wrong when eating, and that deters them from eating healthy foods. So my third main point, we don't have an appropriate curriculum to teach these children. So I don't know about you, but until I was much older, I didn't even realize that our food is horrible for us. Even the stuff that we think is healthy really isn't. We get 70% of our antibiotics are just from our meat. So not only are we creating children who are obese, but we're giving them a resistance to antibiotics. So when they do get sick, they have a resistance to the antibiotics. So that's why we get superbugs, and that's why our kids get really sick now. And then we also teach our children on what the government gives us curriculum-wise. So, I think Lauren touched on the USDA, how they declare pizza is a vegetable now. So that's what our kids are growing up thinking, this food is okay to eat. And then they're also flooded with images of better for you foods. So how many of you guys have seen like the baked Cheetos and the baked Lay's? If you really look at that, what's really in that, it's almost just as bad. Or the Diet Coke, like I know I'm a diehard Diet Coke lover, but it's almost, when it's been linked to cancer, this is what we're teaching our children, is that these diets, these baked, that this is better for them when really, it's really not. So let's go over what we just talked about. Food habits stem from what we are exposed to in children, and better education in schools have been proven to develop better eating habits for children as they become adults. So now that you guys have heard about our schools needing to create a better curriculum and eating environment, I hope that you take away the knowledge necessary to recognize the SWOT system. Thank you.